so I should have told you this from the get-go. Normally I would use sand mix to put up rock work.
Right.
Now, most people use mortar mix. I used to use mortar mix. Turns out mortar mix is much weaker than sand mix. They're about the same to work with. Mortar mix is a little bit easier to work with, but it's not as strong. But for this application, I'm actually using concrete mix because concrete mix is even stronger. And this is ultimately a pier.
Right.
So, and when I get done, there won't be that much weight on it, but there could be.
Yes, well, you're putting the whole cabin on here.
To clean it up, I'm just going around with my trowel, and basically I'm going to scrape the loose cement and stuff out. But then, what I wanted to show you, okay, so I've mostly already done it because I'm pretty efficient. I do it while I'm going. Okay, but then, okay, like see all this mess of cement on here? If you let that dry, guess what? You have cement on your rock.
Right.
Okay, some of it will come off, some of it never will.
Right.
Okay, so what you do is, while it's wet, just water and a brush.
Any kind of a brush that will not
kind of a paintbrush.
Has to be a paintbrush?
No, it doesn't have to be a paintbrush, but a fine bristled paintbrush works better than other things.
Okay.
Okay?
So you don't want to use a toothbrush or something.
You could use I use a toothbrush to scrub the hoo-haws after they're dry.
Well, that's true, because it's not as fine bristled.
Okay, and you see that's moving. You're going, that's not strong, that rock's moving. That rock won't move at all once the cement is dry.
Right, because it's soaking wet right now.
It's an illusion. And that's what you're going at. A lot of this stuff that I do like this, that looks so oddball and stuff, I learned how to do this from my father. My father's father, my grandfather, was a master cement mason. But most of this, make it look like one thing by doing this, and it's really not that. I learned from my dad, who used to work in Hollywood building sets for a while when he was a boy. Now, and this would have been back before we had all this CG bullshit, where you had to build shit that looked like stuff from plywood and cardboard and paper mache.
Right.
So, yeah, so he taught me a lot of this stuff about aging stuff, and like I said, like pouring this and making it look like it's about ready to fall apart, and it looks like it's just stacked rock. When I get done, you'll have to look to see the concrete at all. And so it'll just look like it's just rock stacked up very haphazard. But since you saw me do it, you know that it's this wide at the base.
Right, with concrete underneath it.
With concrete underneath it. But it won't look like that. So, see, and you see it just washes it right up. And you can just watch this. Take the end of your brush, you can use it to push the cement back even further.
Out of sight.
So that it shows even less by doing that. See?
Yeah.
And then you just want to wash it off your rocks. Because who wants to look at cement stain? Because it will stain it. In fact, my dad, one of the ways you can make wood look aged, my dad used to make a paint with cement and water. You would just put cement, took like a cup of cement and that much water, and when you painted it, it would look like the wood would go from looking like it was brand new to look like it was 100 years old in 10 minutes.
Huh.
So, yeah, so there's that. But anyway, you just want to clean it up. And I'll have her turn it back on when it's all cleaned up.
Okay.
Okay, so this is the finished product. Or almost finished product, I should say. I'll show you one more step. But you can see it's all cleaned up now. And hopefully everything will dry very nicely and we'll have a good, strong pier. There's going to be a lot of building that goes on around it. So that'll be, and so there you go. Okay, so the last thing I'm going to do is, you remember the dirt I dug out? Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around and just put that around the bottom of the rock, any place where we didn't quite fill, or just to make it look that much more like it's been there for a bazillion years.
Right.
The idea with construction is to, when you want to build them, you want to make them look not like you just built them, but like they've been there for a while. You never see a house and it's like, oh, look, our house is finished and the whole yard's torn up and it's brown earth.
Yeah.
You know, they bring in sod and crap to, you know, when they do those home improvement projects. You and I both know you don't get a lawn in 10 minutes like that, you know.
Yeah.
But I'm just going to go around and fill that up so that any of the places that might still be loose under that rock that aren't concrete are filled with dirt. And like I said, also so you don't say, oh, that's brand new.
Right.
So there you go. So until next time, have a good time. Don't be a dumbass.